makes it better.
Elizabeth Valo, Sam Mason of Empire Mayonnaise. You know a lot about mayonnaise.
We do indeed.
Guilty.
What is the most basic elements of mayonnaise?
The classic mayo essentially starts with egg yolks and salt. We whip them in a KitchenAid, for lack of a better term. And then you slowly, very slowly, painfully slowly, add oil. And once all the oil is emulsified into this egg, we add the acid, which is different vinegars.
When you're explaining to, say, a new employee, how do you explain an emulsion to them?
You're trying to encapsulate water into fat. The key ingredient, I think, in this product is eggs, obviously.
Yes.
It's a natural emulsifier.
I remember when I first saw an emulsion, I thought I had screwed up because the transformation of two separate liquids that normally bounce off of each other,
Just loving each other.
it's a freaking miracle.
You know what's fun is seeing 4 gallons or 10 gallons or 20 gallons of mayonnaise break. Becomes jagged like a ripped piece of paper, you know, like it's
it
quite
looks so
ghastly.
Angry. It's
Yeah.
so angry and sad.
Mayonnaise is like your vehicle for wild flavors. Why do you believe that mayonnaise is the vehicle?
The high percentage of oil. And oil obviously you can run the gamut with infusing oil. We use just the oil.
Right.
And we make that a flavor.
Right.
There's no adding anything. So we add things, pull them out.
It is so versatile, it's so flexible, it's so mutable, and it's so simple ultimately.
It's so neutral. I mean, it's ready for, it wants to be loved.
Yeah.
It's a canvas that commands paint.
It really,
Exactly.
absolutely.
When I see black garlic mayonnaise, I'm like, what are you talking to me? Because you are talking to me. What do you say is black garlic?
Yeah, black garlic's a funny thing. From what I understand, it used to just be suspended over soy sauce for a long time. But now it's fermented under pressure, under a lot of pressure, and you end up with, obviously a garlic clove that you can eat. It's like this perfectly roasted, fermented, sweet.
Let's taste it.
Yeah, let's get on this. This one is one of my favorite emulsions.
Wow.
It kind of tastes like a really well-aged and well-cooked steak, actually. That kind of complexity. The sweetness of the fats and the
Maillard.
proteins. Yeah.
All of this chocolate, all of this meat, all of this steak flavor that I'm getting out of this has like stricken me, and I feel compelled to cook. Sit tight, be comfortable, and I'll be back with some food.
Fantastic.
That sounds great.
So talking about chocolate, talking about steak, I'm gonna use your mayonnaise to make a quasi-savory, quasi-sweet cake to accompany steak. We're gonna make cake and steak with mayonnaise. First thing I'm gonna do, black garlic mayonnaise, gonna go into the stand mixer. And so it might sound crazy to make cake out of mayonnaise, but as we established, mayonnaise is eggs and oil, and in a cake, you might use eggs and oil. So my sugar goes in, and it's gonna cream together. And now I'm gonna add some hot water to some baker's chocolate. In another bowl, we're gonna combine the dry ingredients, cocoa powder, flour, baking soda, baking powder, and plenty of salt. Next, I'm gonna add a pretty fair amount of black pepper. I'm taking kind of a standard cake recipe, and I'm using a little bit less sugar than you might expect so that it works better in my savory application. Beautiful. All right, so next we'll add our eggs. So I do need some eggs because we need like about 4 eggs worth. Slowly add that in because it's still pretty hot. I'm going to pour it into a prepared pan. Now this is just sprayed down with some cooking spray and then dusted in cocoa. This smells like a place where like elves would live. This is gonna hang out in the oven for a little under an hour. The oven's gonna be set at 350 degrees. Have you ever made cake with mayonnaise?
All my chocolate cakes usually have some mayonnaise in them.
Really? So I'm not that crazy to
I've never done black garlic.
I see.
I have only done
But
classic.
it's an old southern trick,
yeah,
right?
In the South, we've always.
I'm glad that at least some portion of America will not think that I'm insane.
Well, you're mixing steak and cake. I mean, the insanity's still there.
Okay, thank you. So while that's cooling, I'm gonna make my steak. Look at that. Top this with a few scallions. So let's see how this cake turned out. Look at that. Tons of little air bubbles in there. Thank you, mayonnaise. Oh man, so juicy. And then we're gonna have chocolate cake to sop up all of that. All right, I'm really excited for you guys to try this. Behold, cake and steak.
Well, that's something new.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay.
I'm really
How tasty
into
that
like
is.
brown and pink too. Brown and pink's one of my favorite like color combos.
I agree. That's fantastic. Need this.
That is really good.
You feel like the black garlic is, it's still there.
It's reminding me a lot of mole. The way that the spices and the savoriness of a good mole actually enhances the chocolate flavor.
Were it not for your mayonnaise, this would not be a thing. So thank you.
So now that when people ask us, how do we use our mayonnaise? We can say
I have a new answer.
steak and cake,
Steak and cake.
obviously.
Obviously.